Hello everyone, I'm Cheyenne and welcome to my channel. We are going to be doing some magical memory keeping today. This is of one of my trips that I took with my son down to Disney World in Florida. We are at the Lego store here at Disney Springs, though it was still downtown Disney when this all was taken. It's one of our favorite places to stop in and see. It's wonderful. So many Lego statues and all of that. My son is getting older, so it's not as much of a draw as it was during this age, but this is still like a pretty wonderful place to stop and hang out. It can get crowded and kind of scary in there sometimes because there's just so many people, but Legos. Who doesn't love Legos? All right, let me go over some of the things that we're going to be using today. I've got my white cardstock that I got from Amazon Prime, and then I decided for this layout I was going to use up some scraps. So I've got just a piece of yellow cardstock and this little piece of decorative paper. The colors match what's going on here. And then instead of doing mixed media, as I always do, I thought, you know what? Let me pull out some of my stamps and let's do that. So I've got some textured stamps. This is the Timeless Textures set from Stampin' Up. I have no idea if they still make these and you can still get these. It's been quite some time since I've been a Stampin' Up demonstrator. I do love the company, but I like a lot of other companies too. So repping just one was kind of, it was messing with my creative juice, which is one of the things that led to my hiatus from YouTube. And then this one is, pun intended, I believe this was a Hostess set from many moons ago. This is more just an idea to use whatever background texture stamps you have and using other stamps that you can then like cut out and use in here. So I am planning for this to be fairly simple. I want to get this layout done pretty quickly. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. So let's get to it. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is distress the edges of this little border piece. This is a very thin piece of scrapbook paper, so it's a little delicate, and I was okay with like getting it really distressed, so I wasn't too worried about being careful with it. All right, now it's time to do some stamping, and then I decide, no, I think I want to do some embossing paste. And this is when I realized that my embossing paste, my texture paste, both of them were completely dried up because it has been so long since I've been in my craft room creating. So here I am trying to get it to work, and I realize no, nothing I have is going to work. I'm just going to have to purchase more. Darn it. So now I'm trying to figure out, all right, what am I going to do instead? So I decide to experiment a little bit with some acrylic paint and using my little palette knife to spread some white acrylic paint through this brick lace stencil that is from Stampin' Up. I don't know if they still have this to purchase, but yeah, it was an interesting little experiment that I did here. I think I definitely would have preferred it with the texture paste. I was trying to get that textured 3D look with acrylic paint, and yeah, it's not quite the same. I do like that I could get like variations going on, and then I decided to like smear it up a little bit to give it like a distressed look. Basically, what I really wanted to do with this piece of yellow paper was like dull it down a little bit and give it a little bit of interest so it wasn't quite so bright, because it really is, like in real life, it's pretty bright. Not quite neon, but it's bright. So now I'm making sure to clean up everything, and Then moving on to the next thing. Oh yeah, here I am cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. This is what happens when you're too lazy to walk down the hall and actually like wash off your stencils and stuff in the bathroom sink. Nope, you just use like 500 paper towels and baby wipes because that's so much more eco-friendly. All right, now we're going to be doing some background stamping. So I've got this like little basket weave checkerboardy sort of stamp, and I'm using Tim Holtz fired brick. Let's see, what else did I use? Hold on, you know what? I gotta go check. All right, I used fired brick, broken china, and mustard seed to just kind of do some random little patterns. Instead of doing like a mixed media thing on it, I just wanted the stamping to kind of like peek out the edges as it would if I was doing like the package technique or watercolor or something, just to have it kind of pop out. And I love that this shape kind of mimics like a Lego block without being a Lego block. Yeah, so I'm just like layering up all different kind of like textures. I'm double stamping. So some are like really pigmented, some are just kind of like shadows fading off into nothing. And I really like that. And then I've got some of the little splatter drops. I love this stamp. This is one of my favorite stamps to really fake a mixed media effect. So again, with that stamp, I'm doing the same thing where I'm inking it up and then just stamping it multiple times before re-inking it. And of course, I have to add in some black to my layout because I just think that this is so very necessary. So it's like a whole bunch of like little dots on this. So I'm inking it up and then I'm kind of like wiping off bits of it before stamping it, just to give it a little bit more of a distressed look. Okay, here I am trying to get some good impressions of this camera with my Stampin' Up! Basic Black archival ink, and it's just not working out. And then I remember I've got my like little Tim Holtz stamping tool there, so I'm like, you know what? This is the time to pull this out. So I am just inking it up and using it, and this way I was able to continue to ink it up. You can see the difference. There was no way that I was going to be able to stamp that 3-4 times without using this to get that like really deep full color. And then I decide I want to use some of the text from this set. So I'm just doing that. And again, I'm double stamping them so that they're really, really deep and in depth, and then it's time to get those all cut out. So these are my favorite scissors for hand cutting things. They are by Fiskars and they really help. Anytime I have like a scissor that goes over the top of my thumb, it just hurts my thumb, which is kind of interesting considering I'm a hairstylist and I use scissors all the time. But for some reason, my hairstylist, my hair cutting scissors, they don't hurt as much as regular scissors do when paper cutting, when fussy cutting. All right, so I'm just getting that all cut out, and then I'm using my paper trimmer to try to get that as nice and like straight as possible. Now I've been struggling with my Stampin' Up! Trimmer. I don't know what it is, but I'm having a hard time kind of like seeing where everything goes. I think I'm just used to my Fiskar rotary blade trimmer. It's just a lot nicer, a lot easier to use, but I do love the extended platform on this one. All right, now I've got out the Stampin' Up! Triple banner punch, and I love this for doing like little banners. You know, a whole bunch of different sizes you can stick in there and use. All right, so those are all cut out, and now it's time to do the mixed media that I said I wasn't going to. So the acrylic paint is basically dry, and I've got some Tim Holtz Distress crayons. Let me go check those colors. All right, those are in Mustard Seed, Spiced Marmalade, and Mermaid Lagoon. I love the color names for Tim Holtz stuff. They're just wonderful. So I'm just kind of like scribbling those all over because again, I'm just trying to take down the brightness of the yellow color of the cardstock. And now I'm getting some water so I can spray these and kind of mush them around. Oh, this is so much fun. You can use your fingers for this part. I just got a brush, just a standard craft brush, nothing too special. And I'm just kind of like mushing it all around just to get some color on there. And I'm loving how it's showing up on top of the acrylic paint, especially on like the brickwork part of it. It's just so nice, so blendable. See, there I am like using my finger to kind of mush it out a little bit more. And once everything's on there, I'm just so in love with how that turned out. And now it's time to go ahead and mat my photos with some black cardstock. Y'all know I love to do this just to help them stand out some more. See, here I am using my Fisker's rotary cutter, and I love how easy it is to see where exactly I'm cutting. It really takes the guesswork out of it, and I do love the rotary blade. I just wish it had the platform of the Stampin' Up! Blade. Trimmer. So, all right, I decide that that yellow piece, it really needs to be matted in a little bit of black too, to just help it stand out, to ground it a little more. And now I'm playing around with how I'm going to be putting everything, and this is kind of the hardest part. Like once you get all the bits and pieces together, just figuring out how you're going to put them together. Like that's the part I struggle with, and as with any artist, I think it's tough to then decide when to call it quits, when enough is enough, and to call it done and walk away. It's very difficult. All right, here's some craft foam that I got from Walmart, and I'm just gluing that up to give my photos a little bit of dimension. I'm still kind of struggling with my fine liner bottle from the last time, but it's definitely getting easier to deal with each time I use it, as long as I use it consistently. So I'm just going to have to make it a priority to get in my art room and do some scrapbooking and crafting every week. I'm gonna have to make that some like self-care time or something. Y'all know how it is. Now it's time to start committing and laying down everything and gluing it all down so I can, kind of move on with things. I love using my acrylic blocks to weigh down my paper while it's gluing. So there you go, multifunctional tool. You can also use them as palettes for paint and watercolor and stuff. So acrylic blocks are definitely something that I would consider a necessity in any craft room. These ones are by Stampin' Up! And I love the size and the weight of them. And there's like a little ridge around the edges, so if you are stamping, it's very easy to like hang on to them. Stampin' Up! Does a lot of things right. All right, now I am taking those little stamped quotes there, not quotes, sentiments, and I am just putting them on some foam tape and getting them in there. I love a collage look. It's really nice. It all goes in with like collage and mixed media and all of that, and it's really like my aesthetic. That's what, when I was in art classes, like I loved doing work like that, where you just had to like look all over and everything was different but the same, and it was just nice. Now I am going through some of my embellishments because, of course, like even though I wanted this to be a quick layout, it's not turning out to be that way because that's just how it is. It's going to be quick and easy and simple, and no, I need to keep adding things. So I'm going through all of these different bits and bobbles that I have print and cut with my Cricut. That is the Magical Adventures Magic and Wonder set from Echo Park that I purchased as a digital file from Snap Click Supply Company. And the other ones that I had out before were was also a set that I bought from Snap Click. It was like all about boys set. So it's really fun. It's nice to have all these different embellishments on hand. And if I don't have it, then I might have it on my computer. And then I don't have to also have so much room taking up with everything so that I can have all these collections. It's nice being able to store them all digitally on my laptop and then pray that my laptop never crashes. So there's that. There's pros and cons to everything, right? All right, I've picked out some pieces to start layering up, and then I decide that I'm going to use a little magic banner from the Echo Park Magical Adventure set. And I decide, you know what, I need to put it on some twine and I need to tie a bow. And it's been so long since I've tied a little bow that I am so out of practice. So you can watch me struggle for what felt like days to get this little bow. This was so difficult for me, and it was like so ridiculous. The second one went much faster, but I'm very happy that I did it. I persevered, and I have it to put onto my layout. And then I grab those little banner pieces, and I'm using this itty bitty teeny tiny hole punch. Not even sure why I have this, but I'm glad that I do, because it works out perfectly for these little mini banner pieces. And then I'm using a dental flosser to get that twine through. That twine is discontinued from Stampin' Up. I believe it was for a Halloween kit from last year, year before that. But I love Baker's twine. It's really great. So once I decided which direction I was going to have all of these, have the twine going, I decided I wanted the majority of it to go through the back side. I get them all strung up, and then it's just a matter of making it look pretty up there. So there you go. See, I'm trying to decide how I want it all to be and getting it all set up, and yeah, I'm liking where that is. And then this is where the handy dandy fine liner bottle comes in handy, so I'm able to pick up a little bit and adhere those down instead of having to pick it all up again, because there's no way that it would have gone back nearly as nice if I had to do that. Then I decide, all right, we're gonna flip this page over and put those little end bits behind it, so I had to go over and get some pieces of tape. Now, one of my cats enjoys eating tape, so I had to like pull off quite a bit of it to not have kitty teeth marks in my tape, because he's strange. Then I'm using itty bitty glue dots to put on the bows, and I love the way this looks so much. I'm so happy with it. I got out my little journaling little bit, and it ended up like I didn't need to write a whole lot about this. It was great. Just some quick little words saying that, you know, where it is and all of that, and kept it simple. All right, and here we have the finished layout. It took a little longer than I expected, but that's how it goes, right? When you're crafting and creating, you keep adding stuff till it looks right. I did end up pulling out some of the embellishments that I cut from the Echo Park Magical Adventure Magic and Wonder kit. It's the Magical Adventure 1 kit from Snap Click Supply Company. I love having those on hand for my Disney scrapbooking, because they just work well. So, you know, I got a little title there. You saw me struggle tying the bows. It's been a while since I've tied bows like this. It's never easy, but when you're out of practice, it's even worse. Got some mixed media going on in the background that I didn't think I was going to do, but I did. I love the little accents of the stamping around the borders, which gets covered up a lot by the different papers. I love how this is kind of all like meshed in. Like it looks like there's a lot going on, but there's not a whole lot of elements that went into all of this, and I love that. I kept my journaling pretty simple because I mean there wasn't anything else more to say really. And yeah, so that is it. All right, until next time, have a magical day and print out those pictures, get to memory keeping, and make it magical. All right, bye.